Hello my dear students, welcome back to my channel. Today in this video we are going to discuss the main points and the MCQs of the chapter 2 stories about flying. This is for CBSE students of class 10. So I recommend that watch the video till end as it's going to be very useful and informative. And after seeing the video, if you like it, do hit the like button and share with your friends. Also subscribe the channel so that you get the notifications of all the upcoming videos. So let's get started now with this chapter. Let's see the main points and the MCQs. And as you see, these are the two stories about the flying. Okay, so the first story is about the bird, the young seagull who's trying to fly, who's learning to fly, and the second is about an aeroplane. So let's see the first story, his first flight. Okay, it's about the young seagull. So let's see the main points. The young seagull was sitting alone on his ledge. Okay, so the young seagull, the baby seagull, was sitting alone in the ledge, and his two brothers and sisters had already learned how to fly a day before. And the young seagull was hesitant and afraid that his wings would not support him in flying. His parents, brothers and sisters taunted him for his cowardice. So this poor young seagull was sitting alone on the ledge because it was afraid of flying, and he was seeing his two brothers and sisters who were younger to it, but they had already flown away a day before. And his parents, brothers and sisters, they came every now and then and taunted for his cowardice because he was not able to come up with the strength and go with the flying, to start his flying. Okay, next. He saw his mother holding a piece of fish in her beak, and maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish. As he dived, he fell outwards with a loud scream and was seized with terror. So the mother was trying to make him fly, and she was going on with many tricks to make him fly, and she bought a piece of fish in her beak and she stood there, and this scene of having a piece of fish in the mother's beak maddened the young seagull because of hunger. And this young seagull, he dived at the fish. As he dived, he fell outwards with a loud scream and he was seized with terror. He was so afraid. Then what does he see? It says that his wings were cutting through the air and he started flying over the sea. He completely forgot that he had never flown before. He was floating on the sea and his family was praising him, offering him pieces of fish. So what happened after he dived? He started falling outwards towards the sea and he screamed loudly. He was full of terror, but then suddenly he saw that his wings were cutting through the air and he was flying over the sea. And then he completely forgot that he had never flown before and this was his first flight. And then he also learned how to dive in the sea and how to pick up or hunt his prey from the sea, like by catching the fishes. And the whole family was praising and was so proud of him, and they were offering the pieces of fish for him to eat because he had been hunger from last 2 days. So this is how he made his first flight, and from then it started to fly. So this was the main points of your first story, that is his first flight. Now let's move on to the second story, that is the black aeroplane, and let us see the main points of this small story. So here the narrator was flying his old Dakota aeroplane over France back to England. Okay, he was going back to England. He was flying from France. He called his Paris control and was asked to turn 12 degrees west. He thought he would be with his family and be in time for breakfast. Everything was going well, but suddenly he saw dark black storm clouds in front of him. He took risk and the plane went straight into the storm. Everything looked black inside the mountains of clouds and the plane jumped and twisted in the air. He found his compass and other instruments totally dead. So you can imagine here the situation of the narrator, how he was flying his Dakota aeroplane and he was in contact with the Paris control room. He was following the guidelines, but suddenly he saw that it was a dark black storm and he had no other option but to take risk and go inside that, and he found that it was totally dark inside the clouds and the plane started jumping and twisting in the air, and he found all his instruments totally dead. It had stopped working. Then, fortunately, he saw the other plane coming from the opposite direction. The pilot of the other plane asked the narrator to follow him, but the narrator was frightened as there was no enough fuel left. All of a sudden, the narrator's plane came out of the clouds and he could see a runway where he could land his plane safely. The narrator asked the lady in the control room for the other pilot who had helped him. The lady replied that there was no other plane except his Dakota flying that night because of bad weather. The pilot of the black aeroplane remained an unsolved mystery for the narrator. Okay, so here when he was in total destruction, or he was just finding that there was no way, no hope to save himself, he saw that there was another plane coming from opposite direction, and the pilot from that plane guided the narrator to follow him. And suddenly he saw that he has reached the runway and he was so happy that he wanted to thank that other pilot. But he came to know from the reception, from the lady who was in control room, that there was no other plane except his Dakota, which was flying that night because of bad weather. So still it's a mystery, unsolved mystery, like who was in the plane, the black aeroplane. Okay, so this is the story about the black aeroplane. Now let's quickly go through the multiple choice questions. First we'll see from the first story, the young seagull, okay, and then we'll go to the black aeroplane. So here from the first part of the story, the multiple choice questions are: the young seagull was sitting alone on the ledge because he was small, he had no guts to fly in the air, his parents had instructed, or he loved the place. And the answer is option B. He had no guts to fly in the air. Yeah, because it was afraid of flying, and so the option B will be the right answer. He had no guts to fly in the air. Second, his two brothers and sisters had already grown big, learned to catch fish, flown away the day before, or learned to swim. So answer is option C. Flown away the day before. Okay, they had already learned to fly and they had flown away. Next, he felt certain that his wings would never dash him. Support, help in flying, let him fly, or gain strength. So answer is option A, support, because the young seagull felt that its wings would never support him to fly. That's why he was so afraid. So answer is option A, support. Next, his brothers and sisters had dash, beautiful wings, shorter wings, stronger wings, or bigger wings. And the answer is option B, shorter wings. Next, his parents, brothers and sisters regularly helped him, motivated him, scolded and threatened him, or left him alone. And the answer is option C, scolded and threatened him. Because he was hesitant of flying, he was not trying to make his first flight, so the parents, brothers and sisters were scolding and threatening him every now and then. Okay. So next one, he feared that he would fall into the dash, sea, sky, water, or deep pit. And the answer is option A, sea. Yes, because there was a sea, a big deep sea over there, and it was trying to fly over it, so it had the fear that the wings would not support and it would go and fall into the sea. So answer is option A, sea. Next, he had watched his parents flying with brothers and sisters far away, above the sea, or in the sky. So answer is option A, with brothers and sisters. He was watching his parents flying with his brothers and sisters while he was sitting in the ledge. Okay. Next, he cried, begging the mother to bring him some water, some juice, some food, or some happiness. And the answer is option C, some food. Because he was not flying and the parents were trying to follow many tricks. One of the trick was that they were not approaching near him and not even giving him food. They thought if he feels hungry, he'll go and fly. He'll try to fly and he will get some food. So that's why he was hungry and he was begging the mother to bring him some food. So answer is option C, some food. Next, mother screamed back mockingly, loudly, proudly, or happily. Answer is A, mockingly. Next, he dived, soared, and curved, shrieking, dash, slowly, sharply, loudly, or sweetly. Answer is option B, sharply. He dived, soared, and curved, shrieking sharply. Okay. Next one. Now we have the MCQs from Black Aeroplane. The moon was coming up in the dash, east, west, north, or south. And the answer is option A, east. Okay, next. I was happy to be alone high up above the sleeping dash, countryside, city, town, lake. And the answer is option A, countryside. The narrator was flying his old Dakota aeroplane over dash, France back to England, England back to France, or England to London, or London to England. The answer is option A, France back to England. Okay, he was going back to England from France to spend his vacation. Answer is option A, France back to England. Next, he checked the map and the dash, route, engine, fuel tank, or compass. And the answer is option D, compass. Next, he turned the Dakota 12 degrees east towards England, west towards England, north towards England, or south towards England. And the answer is option B, west towards England. Next, everything inside the clouds was shiny, clear, dark, or white. Answer is option C, dark. Because the clouds were dark, it was black in color, it could not, nothing was visible from the aeroplane for the pilot, for the narrator, so it was totally dark. Answer is option C, dark. The other instruments were suddenly dash to, dead, working, flying, braking. Answer is option A, dead. All the instruments in the plane were dead because the plane started twisting and jumping in the storm. Okay. Next, the black aeroplane had dash on its wings. Many lights, few lights, no lights, or colorful lights. So the answer is option C, no lights. The black aeroplane is the other aeroplane which was coming from the opposite direction towards the narrator's aeroplane, that is towards Dakota, and he could see that there was no lights on its wings. He could just barely see somebody sitting in the pilot's place. So we come to know that there were no lights on its wings. So answer is option C, no lights. Next. The narrator was very happy to dash the strange aeroplane. See, follow, talk, or guide. And the answer is option B, follow. The narrator was very happy to follow the strange aeroplane because he thought he would be safe now. The other pilot is trying to help him out. So answer is B, follow. Next, the woman replied that no aeroplane was spotted that night, flew that night, landed that night, or none of the above. And the answer is option B, flew that night. As we know that the woman at the help desk, she replied to the pirate, to the narrator, that there was none other plane flying that night except the Dakota because of the bad weather. So the answer is option B, flew that night. So students, with these 20 questions, we come to an end with the MCQs of both the stories. I hope this video was informative and interesting for you all. If you like the video, do hit the like button and share with your friends. Also subscribe the channel. We'll be back soon with more such videos. Till then, stay safe and take care. Thank you.